Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Shumbit's here. New commentary video for you guys. I'm doing this kind of late, honestly, because work and streaming has taken my time a little bit. So hopefully I'm going to get this out on Monday. Anyway, I hope you guys have been doing well. Today, this was a voted on topic because I had a few that I want to talk about. But today we'll be talking about things I wish I knew as a beginner artist, which I know has probably been talked about plenty of times by other artists. Trust and believe, I am aware. However, I think it'd be kind of insightful and kind of nice to kind of go down memory lane and try to think of things that I wish I knew. As a current adult artist that's been doing it for over 12 years, I think if I had these things back then, it would have shaped my path a little bit better, and I would have less insecurities. But let's get into the video. Before I start yapping away, this video is sponsored by myself. Just a quick little promotion of the things that I do financially. I have a VGen. If you would like to get commissions from me, I offer various things. Feel free to check it out, link in the description. And I also have Ko-Fi memberships. I used to use Ko-Fi for my commissions, but then I got on VGen, which I love a lot. So now my Ko-Fi is more meant for memberships. I have various tiers, various benefits, and they're all listed on my Ko-Fi, which is also the link in the description. Feel free to check it out. I really appreciate people supporting me financially. Do not feel pressured to do so. It is not required, because having people watch my videos or join my streams is enough support as it is. But I figured I'd offer it as I am trying to make this somewhat supplement income over time. So yeah, thank you guys so much for your support, and let's actually get on with the video. Alrighty, here's the first thing I wish I knew as a beginner artist, which I think I can relate to now, finally, but also a lot of us can, which is don't worry about your art style so much. It'll come to you naturally as you learn and notice things you like about others' artwork. So as a young artist, you see a lot of other art, obviously, and art styles is the way the art looks and how that artist represents their work. Growing up, I didn't necessarily have I had an art style, but it was rough. I'll say that. I'll see if I can find some old art of mine and post it. A little cringe, but anyway. I drew a lot of Sonic to start anyway, and I would see these other artists that were probably older than me and have more experience, and I wanted to draw like them. And I would get discouraged by that fact because I didn't have a quote-unquote art style that was my own. And something that happened a few years back during COVID, I remember there was a post on Twitter referring to something along the lines of like, what about your art makes you you? What about your art makes your community like know that's you, or whatever, something like that. And at the time, my ex, his art style is very much like what it is when you see it, like that's him, right? For me at the time, I felt like I didn't have an identity with my work. I felt like if somebody saw my work, if they didn't know me, they won't tie it to me and not really discourage me as an adult, by the way. But now in 2024, I feel like my art is at a place where it feels like my own work. I've settled into my style. I'm embracing the way that it looks. Because growing up, I was always wanting to do, I wanted to draw humans. I ended up not doing that at the beginning. I wanted to draw like certain artists I really looked up to, and I couldn't replicate it because I was a brand new artist and, I didn't have the skill set yet. But as an adult, I realized that worrying about your art style is unnecessary because you're still learning fundamentals. As a quote I remember hearing in college, how did it go? It's about anatomy, but before you break the anatomy, aka drawing anime or chibis or whatever, you need to learn it first. And that applies to anything. So when it comes to art, you need to learn how to do art before you can break it, aka having not quote unquote break it, having an art style that's very specific, and you have certain design aspects that you really like about, eyes, or how you draw bodies, or whatever, hair. And as I've been drawing long enough to say that yes, that is true. Once you know how to draw, and once you've been doing it long enough where you feel confident in your abilities to draw, then you can start experimenting about heavily stylizing things and making it how you want it to look. And also, I would argue, don't purposely try to get a style. Let it naturally come to you, because it will. As you just draw and study and learn and whatever media you consume, you will get an art style naturally. You won't even realize it was happening. As happened to me. There's been a few attempts that I've made where I was trying to consciously change my art style. It worked. The most recent attempt worked, but anytime in the past it would never stick, or it didn't really feel like me, and so I moved on to the next thing I was trying to find to do. But if you're gonna make a conscious effort to change your art style, make it more of a specific thing. For example, for me, on the way that I draw human faces, one thing I didn't like, this was a recent thing, is that I used to draw more of a point for the cheek, or you could say on the side of the face. I changed that because I realized when drawing, side angles and stuff like that, it doesn't really help me. So I just rounded it off instead. I'll find some examples of that and post it here. And I've thrived with that. I love the smoothed out cheek. Even though the pointier, kind of chubbier cheek is cute, but I think it helps me when it comes to drawing different angles of faces. I'm able to actually map it out better, thus kind of improving my skill set. But yeah, don't focus on your art style that much, especially if you're a beginner. But even as like a seasoned artist, I'll say, don't focus on your art style so much. Just enjoy what you do, draw what you want, and over time you will get a style. I promise. Because if you look at my art back when I was a kid, I have a style now that I very, very much enjoy. So please just enjoy what you do and don't feel pressured to get a style as soon as possible just because you see others with a noticeable style or a recognizable style. Alrighty, next up, which I kind of tacked on just a tiny bit on the last point, but drawing your favorite thing over and over is okay. Okay, and by that I mean, as I will show, I drew, well, let me rephrase that. Sonic the Hedgehog got me into drawing when I was 11 years old, and it pushed me into where I am today. But I was very religiously drawing Sonic all the time, because that's what I love, that was my thing. But over time, I don't know how old I was at that point, but I started to want to expand outside of Sonic, like I wanted to draw humans, because I was very much into anime, more so back then. And I would see other artists be able to draw humans fine. But when I tried, which I'll put some examples here, they are very ugly. Very ugly. And it discouraged me. And, I would have moments of trying to draw human and then not for a while and then try, But, looking back at it now, nowadays, I only draw human, excuse me. I don't draw Sonic as often, and now I'm wishing I drew Sonic more, which is so funny. But yeah, I nailed my human style now. And my Sonic style is pretty good too now, but it's funny how when you're younger you think something, but then you look back and you're like, I'm on the complete opposite side now. But anyway, for me to say that is, it is okay to draw your favorite thing all the time. I feel like a lot of people, especially when you're young, and you see these art videos or art tutorials or how to get better at drawing in 30 days, whatever. It's always like the advice isn't applicable to certain people. If you're 12, 13, 14 years old and you like to draw Sonic the Hedgehog, then you draw Sonic the Hedgehog. Or if you like to draw your favorite anime, draw your favorite anime. Because again, you're still learning how to draw and you're still getting some type of skill set, even if you're drawing the quote-unquote same thing over and over. And it may not be the most effective, as some people might say, but you're trying to have fun. So to me, if you draw the same fandom over and over and over, and that's what you want to do, then do it. I applaud you for doing so, because I think that's a fun way to kind of explore art, but also doing something you love, so it kind of pushes you to do more. And then eventually, if you want to branch out and do different things, it will kind of come naturally, I think, like it did for me. I don't know when it happened to where I was able to draw humans. I cannot pin it at all, but that's because it came naturally, I'm pretty sure. I look through my art on my DeviantArt that I don't use, and I can't seem to find that turning point at all. So, I think just keep doing what you're doing, and then if you want to start a different, I guess you could say art medium, or art drawing different things, it could be animals, buildings, whatever. Yeah, start incorporating it into your work. But don't be too hard on yourself if you don't get it right away, because you won't. Give yourself time to actually study that thing, develop it, sketch it out, but still doing what you love on the side, because if you just keep trying to do this new thing and you're not figuring it out, you're gonna burn out and be upset because you can't draw. I can't draw humans right, and it's bumming me out, right? Don't let it get that far. Just add it in as you go, and then eventually you'll realize, I can actually draw humans just fine. Or, hey, I can draw buildings now. Or, I can draw animals, which I don't do, but anyway, or whatever the content is. So yeah, for me, it's furries. I don't draw them very often, but the few times I have, I shocked myself, and I can do it decently well. So it's just one of those things that will come naturally. Do not stress about it. Don't force yourself to draw something just because you see a lot of other people do it, such as anime or whatever. Just have fun, do what you want to do, and if you want to add things to your artist repertoire, do it naturally and don't stress. Okay, now this one is very, very specific to me. So growing up, obviously I drew on a piece of paper like everybody else starts, most likely. maybe not now though. Digital art is very much accessible nowadays, but back then, I could not afford to buy a graphics tablet or anything like that. At the time, I did eventually. But as I got older and saw people's opinions on digital art, it was somewhat negative sometimes. Even now, I'm sure it still exists, but people like to think that digital art is a lesser form of art because you're using a program and it's not traditional and you have access to all these things. Yes, that's true, half of that. But in my opinion, digital art is not easier because you still need the drawing skill to draw the thing. You can't hand a graphics tablet to a non-artist and say, oh, since it's easier, just draw something. They're not going to know what the heck to do. However, yes, you do have more access to things than traditional artists do. You have access to billions of colors. You have access to tools. You can undo all the other stuff. But just like, drawing on a piece of paper with a pencil is different than painting. It's the same thing. Digital art is just a type of media to draw with. So something I wish I knew when I was younger was that digital art is a very much valid form of illustration, and even more so now than before, thankfully. And for certain career paths, they prefer it because it's easier to, get your work and use it as they need to. Never put down artists just because they do traditional or digital. It doesn't matter. They still need that skill set to draw. As you can see in my work, you can't do that if you don't have a drawing skill set. Yes, I can undo. Yes, I can move things how I want to and manipulate as I want to. Guess what? I made that choice. I love digital art. It's been my favorite medium ever since I started it, and I'm never going to leave it. But I'm not going to put down traditional artists because they choose to have a quote-unquote harder way to draw. Traditional art is beautiful, but traditional art is beautiful just as much as digital art is beautiful. So please, any artists out there who want to try digital art but feel discouraged, whether it be by your peers or by what you see on the internet, whatever, please do it. It is worth it. It is fun. I personally prefer it, but also don't let anyone get you down about it because it's a valid art form just as anything else, just because it's not traditional. Alright, we've heard this saying before, right? Practice makes perfect. Well, that's incorrect, and that's been broken down many times. It actually should be practice makes better. Because nothing is perfect, and when it comes to art especially, if you're trying to go for quote-unquote perfect, you will fail every time, and you'll just quit. Especially, as a young artist, you are new. Your art, honestly, is a little bit rough, a little ugly. I'm saying that about my own work, personally, and everything else. But in order to get better, guess what you have to do? Practice. Obviously, when I say practice, there's a lot more behind that. It's not just keep drawing, because it's more about, finding what you want to do and practicing that and studying it and analyzing other artists who do it better than you, whatever that may be. But keep at it. Don't stop. If you stop, you'll get rusty or you'll lose a skill, which I've heard before. If you don't use your skill, you'll lose it, right? Use it or lose it, whatever. And that's important here. Don't give up on your work. Just because it looks a certain way, you need to keep moving. Because, as you continue to do something, you'll get that muscle memory. It'll start to refine and XYZ, right? Practice makes better. Please, if you feel discouraged, feel free to put in comments. I will gladly boost you up because I would love to have more artists, actually continue the craft. Or if you're new and you feel discouraged to even try, please do. Because, yes, there is such thing as talent for something, like a natural talent, obviously. But I think you can gain a skill for almost anything if you put the work in and actually take the time out. And that's the one thing people don't want to do is put the time in. But in my opinion, if it's something you want to do and you want to try it, then you just got to put it in. Put that work in. Talk to your friends if you want some encouragement. I'll give you encouragement. I don't really care. But please don't give up on something that it will just take over time to gain. And stop trying to be perfect. Nothing is perfect. Your art will never be quote unquote perfect. It can be perfect in your eyes, aka like you feel like you've reached a good point in your work where you really love it and it's quote unquote perfect to you. Yes, but perfect to anyone else, it's not. There's gonna be quirks and flaws about it, and I say flaws quotations. For example, I've been drawing for 12 years. I can still not draw hands very well. It's very frustrating. I can't do perspective. I hate drawing backgrounds, stuff like that. But since I do hate those things, I should be honing in on them and actually practicing them more. I'm just a little lazy. But, it's stuff like that. Like, if you have weaknesses in certain areas, then practice it. Study it. Watch videos, tutorials, Skillshare, whatever you need to hone in that craft, go for it. But you got this. Practice makes better, not perfect. Don't expect perfect. You're perfect the way you are. You as a human, I will tell you that. You are beautiful and cute, and I love you. But, just keep working at it. You'll get it. You'll get to a place where you love your work, but just keep practicing and keep working, and you got it. Last but definitely not least, please don't compare yourself to other artists. I am still learning that today. And I'm sure I've talked about this in my other commentary videos actually, because it seems to be crossing paths. But especially as a young artist, you will continue to compare yourself until you're a grown adult. I'm sorry, it's just true. It's hard to avoid because, you see many different levels of artists as you continue to grow yourself. And you feel like you want to be like them, or why aren't you like them, whatever word you want to use, is rough, okay? As a 24-year-old, I'm still dealing with it today. However, it's not healthy, it does not help you, it does not help your artist peers, it doesn't help at all. Try your best to look at your work and appreciate it for what it is. Yes, you cannot help that there's going to be other artists that you will meet and interact with that are leagues above you as far as skill level. But they've been doing it longer, so that's not really their fault. And it's not your fault either. You're also newer, or whatever the reason is. It doesn't really matter. But also time matters, right? So something I touched on in my 2 videos ago. Time. So in current day and age, someone younger than me can get started drawing for the first time and be at my level in 2 years versus me taking 12. It's just one of those things where I have to kind of like ignore it because it is what it is. It's a little bit frustrating, not on the artist, but on me, because it just feels like if I started later, or if I discovered it later, I could have been developed faster. But also, I won't take back my art journey because I've documented it for the most part since I started drawing, so I can kind of look at it and see, yes, it takes a lot of time when I started drawing, but I still appreciate it. And same thing for people who, can move faster with their art and develop faster, etc., etc. But back to comparing. It's a vicious cycle that I still deal with, and I have my days where I'm better about it, and I have days where I'm worse about it. It's just like your mental health and your self-esteem. It's all in the same category. Sometimes I scroll on Twitter and I see artworks and it's gorgeous and I look at mine and I think it's trash. Even though it's not, and I am aware of that, it's a hard thing to break. But I think, as long as you love your art and love yourself, it's a lot easier to not compare. And I believe in you. And keep pushing, because one day, someone might compare, they might look at your art and think, wow, their art's so good and mine's not. And that's when you come in and be like, hey, don't compare yourself to me. Your art's beautiful and my art's beautiful. And we should boost each other up together. And that way I think we can help mend the art community with the many holes that exist. But yeah, you got this. Don't compare yourself, because your work is beautiful just as anybody else's. And that's it. Those are my 5 points I had for the things I wish I knew as a beginner artist. I hope I am able to touch any of you guys out there who are a younger artist yourself, or an older artist like me, and you understand these things and you wish when you were young you knew them too. Again, I sponsored myself. Feel free to check my VGen in the description for commissions and my Ko-Fi memberships to support Lee Monthly. Also, hopefully by the time this video comes out and or after, I will be at 500 subs. Thank you so much. I know we're small, but we're growing, so I guess I can't complain. I really do appreciate the love that you guys gave on my commentary videos. I really enjoy them. I just have to find the time to do them. But I like giving my insight, my yapping, essentially. And I'm glad you guys like to listen. Hopefully I don't offend anyone by the things that I say, or if you disagree, that's totally fine. Feel free to voice your opinion in the comments. I have no problem with that. I'm just giving my experiences, 2 cents, whatever you want to call it, in these videos in general. I have my Discord in the description. Feel free to join. I've been getting a lot of people from YouTube lately from my videos. We hang out in there. We vibe. There's art channels. There's promotion channels. Whatever you want to do in there, feel free. It's a safe space, so anyone's allowed. I don't mind. And I have my Twitter there. I post most of my art there. Well, all my art there. Basically, that's it. Any announcements I need to do. And I have my TikTok. All that other stuff. Socials galore. Whatever. On the description. Feel free to follow me on anywhere. I'm trying to expand my horizon via social media. Oh, I forgot my Twitch, by the way. That's where I mostly spend my time, is on my Twitch. But I also dual stream on my YouTube, so feel free to pick which one you like. But if you want to follow me on Twitch, that'd be nice too, because we just got to 1,800, which I appreciate you guys for. I have some goals that I want to reach this year, and I hope I do, and I really appreciate you guys for supporting me on this journey. But with that, I think that's it. Please take care, guys. Music will be in the description. The art piece that I did today, it was a Ko-Fi member request. They wanted me to draw a Laura from Spyro, so I did. Again, as I mentioned in the video, I don't draw furries, but I think she came out pretty cute. So, with that being said, please take care of yourself, drink some water, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye, my Oni lovelies.
Let's look at the